Hello, this is Quanro Invest. Today I'll be talking about the semiconductor industry as a whole and whether or not there are stocks to buy now in this industry. So as you can see over here, you have Nvidia, you have big players like Nvidia, Broadcom, TSMC, and then you have ASML as well, and all these other companies as well. So are there any other companies that are worth buying right now? So let's take a look at this one over here. So let's go into the semiconductor chain right now. So you have the foundries at the very top. These companies, basically what they do is they make the chips. So you have your TSMC, your Intel, your Samsung. These three are the three big players. Next one down the list will be your chip companies. So your chip companies include your Nvidia, your AMD, your Google, Amazon, Facebook. All of them, they design the chips and then they pass it on to the foundries. The foundries will make the chips for them. Next one, wafer fab equipment. So the wafer fab equipment section is basically what is required for all your different fab. So all your different chip making factories. So you have your ASML that does EUV machines, DUV machines. You have other companies like AMAT, Lam Research as well as KLAC. All of them are under your wafer fab equipment section. Next one, materials and subsystems. So materials and subsystems, they are just like water all required to basically supply your different fabs. So it's not really that important. Next one is your electronic design automation tools. So in this portion over here, there are only two big players. One of it is Synopsys, the other one is Cadence. So what they do is they basically design a software to help solve all the problems that could possibly occur in a fab. So all your different foundries, all your different AI companies, they will just subscribe to this software, and then these two companies, your Synopsys and your Cadence, they are a duopoly in this EDA segment. Next one will be your IP. So your IP section, again, it is dominated by Synopsys and Cadence. So what they do is they basically just sell the chip IP to all your different chip designing companies. So they don't have to do the basics of starting from scratch. They can just buy the IP and then they start designing the chips from that. So I'll link this one in the description later. You can go and check it out. So let's talk about the companies and the best semiconductor chip to buy right now. So first company, Micron. So Micron over here it's an avoid for me. So why is it an avoid? Let's take a look at Micron's earnings. So Micron is a company that is trading at 29 times earnings, 13 times forward earnings. But the problem with this company is it is way too cyclical. So you can see over here, you have 50% down, 60% up, 70% up. I think this is way too cyclical for any business, and for me it's a strong avoid. I wouldn't touch it because simply because of just the cyclicality of the business. It is way too cyclical. There is no you can go up 50% one year and then the next year is down 50%. And so for me, Micron is an avoid. Next one is Nvidia. So Nvidia, what Nvidia does is they just design the chips and then they pass it on to the foundries. So for Nvidia over here, it is currently trading at a 40 times earnings, I believe. So it's trading at a 40 times earnings, correct? 25 times forward earnings. And if you're to look at the past 2 years for Nvidia, they're just exploding because of all your data centers and all your AI innovation and all that as well. So for Nvidia, I think if you're looking at a chip designing company, I think Nvidia is one of the highest quality ones out there. But for me, the problem with Nvidia is I don't understand how extensive their moat is. So over here, as you can see, there are other companies like your Amazon, your Microsoft, Google designing their in-house chips as well. So I don't know how durable or how reliant they are on Nvidia chips. Meaning to say, if they're already starting to design their own chips, one day they could just cut Nvidia's chips and then stop buying Nvidia's chips, and that could hurt Nvidia's earnings. So for me, Nvidia is a consideration. It is a company that is trading at a good price right now. I would say it's a 40 times earnings, growing at around a 30%. So it's around 1.3 peg. So for me, I think it is a consideration, not a strong buy yet. Hopefully it gets to around $90 where I have a margin of safety for its growth, while not understanding its business completely yet. Next company, ASML. So let's take a look at this thing over here. So as you can see, ASML under the patterning section, it holds basically a monopoly in this segment. So if you were to look at the wafer fab equipment section over here, it is the only company that has a strong monopoly over its own category. So if you're to look at AMAT, if you're to look at Lam Research, all of them are spread out quite thin. But for ASML, they are dominant in just one section, and they hold a 100% market share in the EUV market, and they are the only company that are able to produce your EUV machines unless China comes out with one soon. So in this market today, if you want to produce high cutting edge chips, you need to get the machines from ASML. There's no other company that's able to produce the technology needed to make your EUV machines. So for me, ASML, Let's take a look at the fundamentals over here. ASML is currently a company that's trading at 36 times earnings, 27 times, 28 times forward earnings. And yeah, just look at this fundamentals over here. Even on a down year, this company grew revenues last year. So for me, it's simple. ASML is a strong monopoly. I'll buy it any day. And at its current valuation, I would say it's around 10% undervalued. I did a simple calculation in terms of ASML's earnings using that 2030 guidance. And on the low end, it's around 550. Basically, the fair value is around 550 on the low end. In the middle side, it's around $800. And on the high end, it's a double from this price. So it's around $1,300. So for me, the upside is there for ASML. The risk to reward is there as well. So it's a strong buy for me today. Next company, TSMC. So TSMC over here, the problem with TSMC, right, is not the business itself. It's just the location of the business and where it originates from. So this company over here, it is located in Taiwan. That's the problem because you have geopolitical tensions between Taiwan and China, and that's why you're seeing Trump trying to bring in all the different fabs from Taiwan into the US so they're not affected when, let's say, if China invades Taiwan. So this company over here is basically a monopoly already. It's a monopoly in terms of scale, but the problem is they always have the geopolitical overhang over it. And yeah, if you were to look at just the earnings of this company, it's just incredible. I would say it is, if it wasn't a Taiwanese company, if it was a US company, it is definitely one of the most highest quality businesses out there. They have the highest technology, they have the most technology, they have technology that is superior to your SMIC, your Intel, and all your different other foundries as well. So for me, TSMC, it's trading at 25 times earnings. I think it is a strong buy, but for me, I won't be buying it simply because of geopolitical risk. So if you were to look at Warren Buffett's 13F, a while back he actually bought TSMC. He bought TSMC in one quarter, and then in the next quarter he sold TSMC. It is likely due to this geopolitical fears. I don't think it is because of the business itself. It's just the overhang of the Chinese government maybe invading into Taiwan and the geopolitical tensions over there that could affect the fundamentals of this company. So for me, TSMC, I wouldn't buy it, but it's a strong buy. It is a company that has an incredible moat, incredible scale. It will definitely be the winners in your AI race over here. Next company, Lam Research. So for Lam Research, I think it is a company that is trading at a decent valuation right now. So 23 times earnings. And if you have to look at these fundamentals over here, I think it's quite good as well. So it is comparable to your ASML. So for me, I don't know much about this company, but it is a consideration just based on its fundamentals. Next company is Synopsys. So Synopsys is actually a duopoly in your EDA section as well as your IP section. So what they do is they basically sell your software to all your different under chip companies. And if you're to just look at the fundamentals of Synopsys over here, their revenue has been growing very steadily. It is not as cyclical as your other semiconductor industry because Synopsys revenue comes from the R&D from all your different other AI chip companies, and these chip companies, they cannot reduce their R&D, meaning to say they have a fixed R&D for every single year because in a downturn they want to be the first one to make the next cutting edge technology, and then in an up year as well they will have the money to go and spend on R&D as well. So for this company over here, revenue growing steadily, it is not cyclical at all. It is not cyclical like your normal semiconductor industry, and it is a duopoly right now. But the problem is the valuation, and they're buying another company called I believe they're buying this company over here. This company is trading at a rather hefty valuation. So for me, I considered Synopsys, but for me, I don't think the business is understandable at all. I completely don't understand this business. I don't know what software they're selling. I don't know what business is selling. So for me, it's a consideration. Maybe if I understand the business in the future, I will buy into this company because IP has nothing. As in, IP has no capital cost. They're just selling it every single year on and on and on as a recurring revenue. And your software as well, is capital light. So Synopsys, if I understand this business, I would probably buy it, but for now it's an avoid for me. It's not an avoid, it's a consideration. Next one, Intel. Intel is simple. Intel is just a sell. I think Intel doesn't have the technology that your TSMC has. Simple as that. So they were one of the biggest foundries back in the year, but now they're just They're just a company that is not growing, that is losing revenue, that is trying to make their own chips but is failing, and then they're trying to become a foundry again, but then TSMC is already ahead of them while they're trying to go and make their own chips. So I think Intel over here, it's an avoid for me. They're trying to do something. They're trying to make new fabs, buy new EV machines. Yeah, but for me, void. I wouldn't touch this company. Maybe if I was a shareholder, I wouldn't sell it because it's been down so much already. But that may be price anchoring. So yeah, for me it's an avoid. Simple as that. Last one, AMD. So AMD over here is a company that has suppressed. It's basically a stock price that is suppressed already. So 1 month down 7%, year to date down 12%, 1 year down 40%. So this company over here trading at 100 times earnings, 22 times forward earnings, and it is in the same category as your Nvidia, is under the chip designing companies. But for me, AMD, if I were to compare AMD and Nvidia, AMD is clearly losing to Nvidia in terms of your data center revenue and all that. So for me, if Nvidia is under the consideration category, then AMD should be in an avoid category because AMD simply just can't compete with Nvidia. So this is the semiconductor series. Hopefully you learned something out of this one. Yeah, and leave some comments below so that I can answer them.